if function is going to be so helpful as we move forward. But you know, if you do run into trouble doing the homework, I'm happy to help you. I know I've offered this to sit next to you, and I've done this for students where they come to my office area. You don't sit in my office, by the way. If you've never been to my office, there's like an outer office with a couple tables. You can hang out there, and then you can just be like, hey, Dr. Noonan, come up, and I'll come running and be like, what can we do? And I'll help you out. But so you can actually do your homework there if you'd like. That way you have instant access to me if I'm there. You know, I'm not there on 24/7. The quiz for today, though, is more like the stuff that you had on your homework that was due on Wednesday, because I can't make you do Excel on a quiz or a test. That'll become a problem after the break. Like for now, it's pretty simple. I can just show you a pie chart like this and have you interpret it. That's easy. And I can have you, you know, make things for me by hand. That's easy. After the break, though, there's going to be problems where there's no way you can do it without Excel. But don't worry, I've got a way that I do it on my quizzes. You'll see, and you'll be able to do it on your test too. So let's go ahead and do this quiz. It's not too bad. In fact, I think probably by the time I get to the back, the front row will be done. Here you are. That's it. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. Enjoy. Oh, sorry, I almost neglected. I don't think there's enough there. I'll give you one more just in case. Just 2. Is that one or 2? Oh, that's good. Oh, you've already got one. How did that happen? Oh, you're not supposed to defer, just clear it out. I think that made it too many, but it doesn't matter. As long as everyone has at least one. Oh, you're already done. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. So did everyone get at least one? If you have more than one, that's fine. I'll take the extras in a bit. There are a couple of absent people. All right, I'm going to put it up on the screen for the people who are watching from home in the video. Let's see, is the microphone working? Apparently it is. Which microphone is that? I don't know. Well, there is a microphone that's working. Oh, by the way, I don't think that well, it might be 25. Yeah, it might be 25. I just read over number 1. If it's not exactly 25, don't worry about it. It's okay. Just use the numbers that are there. So, I made up those numbers. It's complete fiction. Oh, number of siblings. Yeah, change that to color. And you can see I reused the graph that I had last time. That light is enough. Here's mine. There it is. I just noticed that I just erased it. But if you want to just see what it's up there, providing it. Just exciting that I can provide something. Attendance. Let me just double check. Diego, I'm doing attendance, so I want to make sure I get the right absentees. Is there another person? Oh, Nevaeh. Got it. All right, I can see out of my peripheral vision some people sending their papers towards the middle. You're doing great. If you're ready, you can do that. If you're still working, don't panic. I'm still doing attendance up here, so that's part of the reason I do the quiz, is to give myself time to get straight. I'm also going to be passing around a sheet here of, these are some of the data that we're using today. I thought it would be easier for you to have it in your hands rather than having to copy it off of the screen. You know, all the numbers and stuff, such a pain, so I thought I'll just print it up for you. Isn't that nice? So it says classwork at the top. We'll do some of it as a group and some of it as classwork. You can stick it on your refrigerator. I mean, people look back, my daughter doesn't have it. Sticks in the fridge. No, I didn't. I was just coming. Yeah, it's just the data, so you don't have a copy. But I have a connection on you. Yeah, it's for figures. Yeah, are you guys all done? That's the middle here. You're ready to go. Very nice. Are you guys done over here? If you shove in this direction, I'll put them in the pile with the rest of them. Thank you. There's a pencil sharpener. It's going to be hard. You want to shove it in. All right, so since I gave you another little half sheet of paper, it's hard for me to tell who's still working on the quiz and who's looking over the half sheet that I just gave you. So bear with me as I try to figure out if everyone is done or just savoring the experience. You're done. I might have to ask. Anyway, so you can do that. I think everyone's done. Is anyone still working on the quiz? So it's a pretty easy quiz. Good. Let me just staple these together so that they stay together. That's good. All right, well, let's go over this quiz, and then I'll tell you what we're doing today. I thought that, you guys know what you're doing when you're talking about averages, I think, but we'll do a little bit of talking, me talking, we'll do a lot of you doing something for me. But first of all, these so the colors here, you're making a bar chart or a bar graph. And so I mentioned this before, and I'll mention it again because there were some quiz people who did this wrong the last time. So just so you know, the distinction, the way that we're doing it is that if you have a bar graph, you don't make the bars touching one another. If it's a histogram, you do make the bars, you make them fat so they touch one another. So that's the major distinction when you look at them. And so here we have red. And the reason is that a histogram represents a continuum of numbers usually, and bar graphs usually represent categorical data that you really can't. I mean, I suppose that in this case, whoops, I went too far, didn't I? In this case, you might say that the electromagnetic spectrum, red and orange, there is a continuum there, but I'm just saying that there are those two. So you have these two, a lot of orange lovers. I don't know why that is. And then yellow. Okay, I'm going to run out of room, but you get the picture. Yeah, I've done this poorly, haven't I? So green, this is going to be terrible. I'll just cram them in here. Blue, purple. And then there's some joker who said that their favorite color was clear. I've also had people tell me that their favorite color is plaid. So, if you ever want to be, silly, if someone asks you, you could say, oh, my favorite color is paisley. Okay, so getting down here, this one, that cat, you might not be able to tell exactly, but if you hold a corner of a paper, that's a right angle. I tried to make it, well, I did. I actually made it exactly 1/4 of the whole. So, you know, when you interpret this, you're like, well, that's 1/4, and I know yours wasn't in beautiful color, but this is 25% or 1/4. Any one of those would work. So, wait, what's the, oh, here it is. What percentage? If you said 1/4, I'm happy. If you said 25%, I'm happy. 0.25, happy as well. So any one of those. All right, let's move on. I gave you a piece of paper here, and that gives you a hint as to what we're doing today. We're going to be computing mean, median, and mode of various sets of data. And you'll notice that I've got this sort of arranged from easy to hard. So let's start with easy. In fact, the easy one is so easy that I'm pretty sure you already know how to do it. So I'm just going to let you do it. Why don't you go ahead and compute the mean, median, and mode of that number one. The students enrolled in probability were asked how many semesters they had been. This is actual data that I got from your survey. So go ahead and figure out the mean, median, and mode. And if you're not sure exactly how to do it, ask your neighbor and work it through together. And if you need a calculator, I have a few. I will bring more for next week. Yeah, before you leave, make sure I need to tell you about the exam. So maybe I'll put that at the bottom. So here, I'll put it as number 5. Okay. All right, this really isn't all that complicated, so I think I can just ask. Well, I probably could just randomize you and pick, but I'll let you tell me, and you can pick yourself, volunteer, how to do the median, or no, the mean. The mean is the first one, right? The mean. How do you find the average? The mean is the average, I guess, of a set of data. So does anyone want to tell me what to do? I'll do it. You don't have to actually do the calculations. I can do it. Yeah, what do you think, Cooper?
Add all the numbers and then divide it by the total numbers there.
Oh yeah, okay. So here, I'll just do this. Add m up and divide by the total number. The number, that's the total is not it. Add them up and divide by the number. How about that? Something like that. So that's what you probably did. So let me see if I can do this in my head. We've got 19 plus 14 is 29, 30, 33, 39. So I'm getting 39 as the total, is that right? So add them up, I get 39. And then I can just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, divide by 7. Sadly, it doesn't come out evenly, but you know, it's sort of okay. It's going to be 5 and 4/7. So, oh, I should know my sevenths. 5.5 something? Is that right? Did someone do this? 5 point, what is it? What do you got, Blair?
5.5714.
It's 5714. Okay, very good. So yeah, 5.57, good enough. Or even 5.6 would be fine. So that's the mean, is you add them up, divide by the total. All right, does someone else want to tell me about how to find the median? So we could do this. The median, it's probably something you learned about at some point. How do you do that? Yeah, what do you say, Mason? Yeah, that's sort of the key, isn't it? You put them in order from lowest to highest, and then, I'm sorry, I spoke over you. Find the middle, yeah. So this is common mistake that students will make with a problem like this, is they won't put them in order. And notice what happens if you don't put it in order. That's the middle number. But as you know, those of you who know how to do the median, that's not the median, because you have to put the numbers in order first. So let me just jot this down. Median, order them, order up, and then pick the middle. As you can imagine, this becomes more complicated if you're looking ahead at problems 2, 3, especially 4. Well, 3. 3 is probably the one with the median that's the worst. Picking the middle is more difficult. But we'll get to that. Don't worry, I'll help you. I just wanted to prove you know how to do this. Let me go ahead and order these the way Mason suggested. I'll put them in order just below this. There's a 2, then a 5, then a 5. And you might check them off. There they are. And then this 6 right here. And then it looks like everything else is a 7. 3 7s. 1, 2, 3 7s. I've got them in order. And you can see, using Mason's wonderful instructions, that the median is 6. So I should label these, shouldn't I? Let's go ahead and label these. So first of all, this thing is going to be X bar. At least for now, we'll just use that. We'll be using 2 different symbols for the mean, but for now, that's probably something you're familiar with, and if you aren't, you should be familiar with it. The thing that we're going to use that symbol for, X with a bar over it, is when we have the mean of a sample. So if you're dealing with a sample and you have a mean, it's X with a bar over it. We have a different symbol for the mean of a population. And then here, with this one, this is going to be capital M for median, and that's the median of a sample. We don't really deal with medians of populations, to be honest, and at least not in this class, but we would have a different symbol for the median of a population. All right, now let's do the mode. So once again, let's see who knows what a mode is. So I need another color, I suppose. So the mode. So who wants to teach me about mode, or how we find a mode? I think you probably know. You're just thinking it's too simple, don't you? Put me out of my misery. Thank you, Carter.
The one with like the most frequent.
Yeah, it's the most popular. Yeah, the mode is like the popular crowd, the popular kid. Yeah, so which one is most popular? So mode is most popular, the most. I'll just leave it as most. You can think of it however you want. Most frequent, most popular. So we're just looking here and saying, okay, which number is represented the most times? And it looks like 7 wins, doesn't it? So the mode, we don't even have a symbol for mode. The mode is 7. It's the most popular. I think because we have too many M's to begin with, we have mean, median, mode. So what symbol are we going to use? Well, it's not that useful, at least not for, we'll just use the word mode. All right, so with that in mind, I have a more complicated situation down here for you to deal with. So go ahead and do the same, mean, median, and mode. Now, at first glance, when you look at numbers 2 and 3, it looks like number 2 is going to be easier than number 3. At least when I look at them, it looks that way. But in reality, after I show you some tricks, number 3 will be easier. But let's focus on 2. Use your knowledge now. So if you weren't sure about the mean, median, mode, there's what they mean. You have add them up, divide by the number is the mean. Median is you order them up, pick the middle, and then the mode is the most, whichever one is the most frequent. So these are actually the numbers that you gave me. This is this class, ages of students in this class. So you can go ahead and figure out mean, median, and mode for those. It's going to take a little longer. You might want to work with a friend and say, hey, I'll do the mean, you do the median, whichever it is. I'm grabbing a calculator. Okay, let me, can work together if you want. I mean, I don't mind. I know it's early, so. All right, well, it sounds like things have quieted down. You probably have already done it, or you don't know how, so we'll do either. I'll take either one. Let's start with the mean, and I've just rearranged the data, because I needed to know how many of each type, just for myself to be able to help me do the calculations. I thought it'd be easier if I did this, made a little table. So that's what this is. But you might have just added them up the way they were in a big string there. Haley, did you add these things up? What did you get when you added them up? Or what did you get for your mean if you didn't keep track of what?
18.88.
Yeah, 18.88, very good. That's what I got, so I guess I did add them up correctly. I had 472, whoops, nope, try again, 472. Is that right? Did I add those up? And I guess Haley would have done the same thing because she had the same number. And that when you divide by 25, because there's a total of 25 numbers there, 25 of you answered the survey. Good work. Wait, that's everyone in this class. You're the best. I just realized, because my other classes, none of my other classes were close to everybody answering the survey. But anyway, so that's 18.88. Very nice for our mean. Let's do the median now. Another kind of a pain, wasn't it, to have to put these in order? So let's find a rando to do this for us. Amy knows how to do the median, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, which one is the median?
19.
It's 19? And did you put these numbers all in the correct order first?
I just crossed them off.
Okay, so you're counting. Oh, really? One of each? Like
Yep.
bottom? Oh, that's so clever. So you crossed off the 16 and the 26, and then you kept going until you were left with one number standing, and that's so brilliant. I love it. I love it when you come up with these tricks, because that's what mathematicians are. We come up with tricks so that we can avoid work. In reality, mathematicians are pretty darn lazy because we try to cut corners and figure out how to do things efficiently. And so I love it when you do this sort of thing, come up with a method. Yes, it is 19. I'll explain my method. So doing it like this, I was able to come up with the same thing that Amy came up with. But I'll explain that in a minute. And it's much quicker than actually writing them all out. In fact, I think my method is even quicker than Amy's. We'll see. But let's go on to the mode. Now that I've got this here, that's not very hard to get the mode. But Bailey, you know what the mode is, don't you?
19.
19 as well. I mean, once I've got it written like this, you can just pick the mode right out of the list. So there it is, 19. So let me explain what I did. I did essentially the same thing that Amy did and the same thing that Haley did and also, of course, Bailey in terms of getting these three numbers. But my approach was to first of all make a table like this. So you can see this, and you can see that on the very next problem we're going to do, you have a table that you can use my trick on. But anyway, so I've got my table, and then to compute the mean, in order to compute the mean, you have two choices. You could either start with all these numbers and say, okay, 16 plus 20 plus 17 plus 17 plus 17 plus 20 plus, it gets tiresome, doesn't it? You run out, and then you lose track. Wait, did I do the 19? Oh no, and then you have to go back to the beginning. So if you have this in a table, then you can say, okay, I've got 116. And so I actually have this on my calculator here. I'll tell you what I typed in. I typed in 16. And then there are 5 17s. So all of these 17s, if you add them up, 17 plus 17 plus 17 plus 17 plus 17, we learned something in 3rd grade, and that is that if you want to add something to itself a bunch of times, it's the same thing as multiplication. And so instead of just adding up 5 17s, I have on here 17 times 5. It's the same thing, much quicker. And then when I got down to the 18s, instead of adding up 4 18s, 18 plus 18, I did 18 times 4, and then the 19s, this is where it really was helpful, 19 times 8, 20 times 5, 21, and 26. Added up all of those, and apparently I got the same thing as you, was 472 divided by 25, and got 18.8. So that's how I do my mean, is I use the table, and I multiply 17 times 5, 18 times 4, and I just add those up. Now, to get the median on a table like this is a little complicated, but what I do is similar to what Amy did. And that is, I first of all figure out where the middle is. So let's see, there are 25 numbers. So the middle number is going to be the 13th. If you imagine everyone standing in the front of the room from the youngest to the oldest, The middle person will be right here with 12 people on one side and 12 people on the other. So once you figure out where the middle is, and we'll have formulas for this, but it's not hard to figure out. You just have to find a place where you have the same number on either side. Once you've figured out that place, then you just count. So let's see, we have one person and then another 5, that makes 6. And then you have another 4, that's a total of 10, right? So I'm just going down the line, trying to figure out where the 13th person would be. That 16-year-old is right here. And then you have 5 17-year-olds, and then 4 18-year-olds. We're up to the 10th person, right? And then you have the 11th person, 12th, and 13th person. They're all 19 years old. And so the median is 19. So that's one way to figure this out. By the way, we haven't dealt with one minor glitch with median, but I think you can figure it out. And that is what to do if you have an even number. You know, if you have an even number, there is no middle person. We'll get to that, though. Don't worry. And then the mode, of course, once you have a table like this, it's easy. So what I'd like you to do is to try that. Try to do what I just did with this monster table here. Let me see if we have an even number. I forget how many people we have. I think there may be an odd number. I took everyone, all of my, this is the sibling data from all classes, and I want to find mean, median, and mode. And you can do this without, you know, like quickly, by just multiplying and adding.
I think it's 67.
There's 67?
I think so.
Okay, so we'll double check this though. Make sure you don't trust Cooper, although we can sort of trust him. But it's always good to have independent verification. So at least one other person should make sure that there's 67. So total is 67. So I guess I'll have to invent an example where it's an even number, but it's not hard how to do it. So go ahead and do that. X bar, im, and the mode. The mode is the easiest. I think we can all say what it is, but we can do the rest here. Come on. Where's this? No. Well, this isn't all that hard, is it? Hopefully you're able to work through the deal here. Let's see if we can get someone. Oh, you're not here. I'm sure you could do this. Oh, Abby is here, though. Abby, do you know what the total? So there's 67 here, but I need to know what the total of all of the siblings from everyone is. So were you able to do that?
152.
152. Where'd you get that number?
Multiply each frequency by the amount of siblings it has.
Oh, yeah. So it's 17 times 1, 29 times 2, 8 times 3, and then you add up all those numbers. Well done. Okay, so that's how we're going to do that one. Now we just have to divide that out, and hopefully we all divided it correctly. Oh, you're not here either. You could have done it. Well, I'll just do it. I did it on my calculator already. You can let me know if I'm right or wrong. 2.27 is what I got for number of siblings, average number of siblings. So does that look all right? Okay, let's do the median. Deal with the median now. So Kirsten, what number here is going to be the median? Which one? Yeah, it is 2. Very good. How did you figure out it was 2? Okay, so you asked a friend, which is great. So let's think through this. There are 67 numbers. This is where things get a little tricky because it's such a large number. But you have to imagine all 67 people standing in this line here up at the front of the room. And the person in the middle, we have to know how many people are on their right and how many people are on their left, or from your perspective, left and right. So how many people? There's 67. Now the one person in the middle is one of those 67. So there's 66 other people. So how many go over here and here? Yeah, there's 33. So 33 over there, 33 over here. You can get a rough estimate for how many are going to be on either side by just taking 67, subtracting 1, and dividing by, or just take 67 and divide by 2. You'll get 33.5, which you'll fill 33 on each side. So we'll have a formula. Like I said, we'll have a formula eventually for where to look for the median, but this is good enough with these smaller numbers. So 33 on either side. And now we need to just go through and imagine from the person way over here, we have 3 only children. So you have an only child, another only child, another only child. That's 3. So now it gets a little hard to keep track of where we are, doesn't it? So we just have to either on paper, or maybe we can think in terms of cumulative frequencies, that you'll have 17 people who have 1 sibling. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 17. So once I'm here, this 17th person, that person is the 20th person from the edge, aren't they? And now I need to go another 13 people before I get to the median. Well, there's 29 from here over as I'm looking. There's 29 of you who have 2 siblings, and so the 13th person is somewhere in that range. So here we go, here's the 13th person, and now we're at that point. This person here is 33rd from the side. The person right next to them, median. Person over here is to the left of the median, but from your perspective to the right. And then you have everyone else stretching that way. So yeah, this is going to be, there's 20 people, and then, so this is hard. I find that this is actually, oddly enough, the hardest of the things that you have to do in this section is trying to figure out the median of a set of data that's written like this. Honestly, you could, this is one option, I don't recommend it, but you could actually take this frequency distribution and write it like this. 3, 3, 3, oh, sorry, not 3. Sorry, I'm getting confused, aren't I? Bad enough. Okay, so there are 3 zeros, 0, 0, 0. There are 17 ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Whew. Then there are 29 twos. 29 twos! 2, 2. Okay, I'm giving up. I'm not going to do it. But you could. I'm just saying, that's an option. I don't recommend it. I highly recommend trying to figure out how to find that median. Just imagining you have 3 people and then you have 17. So where are you in the lineup? You'll get to the 33rd person when you're in the 2s, and then the 34th person will be a 2, the 35th person will be a 2, and so on. Okay, so that gives us our median is 2. The mode, okay, that's too obvious. It's the biggest. It's also 2. All right, let me take a look. Before we do the next one, I wanted to show you a couple things. Oh, and we do need to deal with the even number. Don't worry, we'll do that. But I want to show you this. Hold on a sec. Find my Excel. There it is. So this is the actual data that I collected, and you'll find, here's the siblings. Ignore that bottom number. That's standard deviation. We'll deal with that next week. But so you can see siblings. There's the, is that what we had? 2.2, yeah, 2.268. So this is Excel calculating it for me. This is the median. This is the mean. Oh, no, the mode. Sorry, mean, median, mode. So I just thought you could see, now that you understand the relationship between the three, you can see for each one of these semesters completed. This is for the whole group. It was 3, 3, and 1. There's the age we already did. Let's see, are there any interesting ones? The water bottle is okay. Obviously it's trying to divide numbers that are words by numbers, so that's why that is. Yeah, these aren't that helpful, I don't think. But anyway, there's those. So Excel can do this. We'll learn about Excel doing this, not next week because we have an exam next week. More on that. I've got a note here that I need to talk to you about the exam. Don't worry, we will. Oh, yeah, you didn't see what I just flashed you, but I have a note. But anyway, so we'll deal with Excel eventually. I'll let you know when to bring your computers again, but it won't be next week. I think next week will just be computer free. Okay, onward. So this next thing, we need to deal with even numbers of data. So I guess I'll have to make up a set of numbers. You know, the easiest thing is to take, no, let's not do that. Let's just make up a new set. So let's make up a new set of numbers. In fact, let's see, how about, let's do grade, so quiz grade. And let's say that these are quiz grades for people in, let's see, where's an even number of people here? Well, that side has an odd number, this side has an odd number. What's wrong with you people? Okay, oh, the first 2 rows. Here we go, first 2 rows. That's good. So there's 1, 2, there's 10 of you. So there's 10 of you. Here are the quiz grades for those 10 people. They were amazing. They had 100. We had another 100 in no order, so there's no FERPA violations here. I'm not telling you who had which quiz grade. There was someone with a 90, another person with a 95. There was a 92, and then there was an 85. That was just it was an anomaly. That person will do much better the next time. Let's see. We had yet another 100. And then we had a 97 on, someone had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then there was another 90, and then there was someone who got a 96. I think that's 10 numbers. Yeah, there's 10 numbers. Okay, so there's quiz grades. We can do mean, median, and mode. The mean is easy, so we'll skip that. The median is the one that I want to make sure we focus on. So let's actually do what we did for the first problem, that is put these in order from lowest to highest. So let's go through 85, 90, 90. It might help to sort of check them off as you go so that you know if you've missed any, especially with a small data set like this, because now when you're using Excel, you can sort your data. That's easy. Well, Excel will do the median for you from scratch. But so 92. We've got that, 95. You'll yell out, though, if I miss one, won't you? I'm sure you're good at that. So 96, 97, and then 300s. Good job. Look at this. These front 2 rows, you're amazing. And that 85, it's okay. Whoever that was, you'll do better the next time, I'm sure. But there's the grades, and I want to know the median. So here's the way that I think of median. Back here, I think of it as you've got these numbers, so here's my numbers in order. So here's what I'm looking at right now. In fact, let me see if I can just copy this and move it. Copy, I'll put it down here with the other one. There it is. So paste, paste, paste. Make it big. Ooh, it's kind of floating around, isn't it? There, it's huge. Okay, so once I get rid of that, get rid of this here too. Okay, so the way I think of the median is I think of it as you've got your data, and the data is like a cake, a big sheet cake that you want to cut in half. And you're going to try to put your knife right in the middle of that sheet cake. So here's my giant cake or my big block of cheese if you prefer cheese to cake. But whatever it is, you're trying to cut this thing in half right in the middle. So if I was cutting this in the middle, here's where I would slice. Now I have exactly half on the left, exactly half on the right. So you see that? And so the 6 is the median. Up here, if you imagine this being a giant brick of cheese or a giant hot dog, I don't know, whatever you want to think of, some piece of food that you're looking forward to eating. Anyway, there it is, and I'm going to cut this exactly in half. Oh, my numbers, the hundreds. That's the problem, is hundreds are fatter than 90s. So 3 digits, it's okay. Just imagine that I'm trying to cut it in half. The slice is going to go right there, which actually geometrically isn't quite the middle, but we'll pretend. So notice where the slice is. I have 5 of the numbers on the right, 5 of the numbers on the left, and so that's where the middle is. It doesn't go through a number like this. So what we'll do is whenever this happens, if there is no middle number, we're going to invent a number. Just pick a number. Any number between 95 and 96 will work, but if you want to get it right on Newton, you will pick the middle number between those two. So 95.5 would be the median of that set of data. So when there's an even number of data, you just average together the 2 middle numbers. So think of this as being, well, somewhere in here, just stick it in there, average them together, and you'll be good. We're going to do that as well when we get to quartiles next week, but that's another story. So here, just average the 2 middle. If you can get median, quartiles are super easy. So there's that. Okay, one more, and then here's my note. See, I've got a note to myself to talk about the exam. Okay, so the last one is this. So notice what I have here. Here, I'll do this one because it looks cleaner. Is what I've done is I've got a set of data, but I've already grouped the data into a frequency distribution, into a grouped frequency distribution. So you don't know what this one person answered. What is this? The water bottle size. So these are just the people with water bottles. I eliminated the zeros. So you don't know how big that person, unless you're that person, you don't know how big that water bottle is. It could be anything between 1 and 10. And same with these 13. You don't know how big those water bottles are. They could be 16 or 12 or 20 even, but they're numbers in this range. So whenever you have a frequency distribution that's already grouped, we can't really compute the mean of that distribution, but we can approximate it. So notice what I have here. Where is it? Oh yeah, approximate. Approximate the mean. Here's how we're going to approximate the mean. Is this one person, since we don't know what number they are between 1 and 10, I'll just pick the middle of that range, and I'll say, you know what? I'm just going to say that one person has an average, or that one person's water bottle is exactly 5.5. So I'm going to find the midpoint, so maybe I'll put it back here, midpoint of each of these ranges. In this first one, so just so you can see what I've done, I take the left and the right side of the range, divide by 2, and I get 5.5. And I'm just going to pretend that one person has a water bottle that's exactly 5.5 ounces. That's not what they said, by the way. But we're going to see how close we are because I have the actual truth, the actual answer on that spreadsheet that I can show you. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing here. 11 plus 20 divided by 2 is 15.5. And after you do a few of these, since this is a grouped frequency distribution where all of the ranges for the groupings are the same size, you're going to find that this follows a nice pattern. So let's do that. You can see the next one's 25.5, 35.5, 45.5, 55.5, and 65.5. So, for example, this one person with the gigantic water bottle, I'll tell you right now, that person did not say that their water bottle was 65.5, but we're going to use 65.5 to approximate how big their water bottle is. This is actually, we're getting into the actual inferential statistics here, a little ahead of our game. But so this we're going to get a good guess It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be an approximation for the mean. So now once I've got that, whoa, I didn't mean to erase. These numbers are the numbers that you're going to use along with these frequencies to come up with X bar. So here, let me get the total. 20, 50, 52. So there's 52 people who actually had water bottles. So they're divided by 52. So when you get done, add up. So you're going to do the same trick. Multiply and add. This one's a little bit more annoying because of all the decimals. But do your best. See if you can add these up properly. And then we'll compare it with the Excel spreadsheet here in just a minute. I'm just going to pull my Excel spreadsheet back over so that I can make sure I have these numbers. Come back here. There we go. Is this it? Did I say 52? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've got the same number. So I don't know if you were watching what I just did there. Let me explain what I just did. Sometimes, especially when you have numbers like this that are complicated, or just the decimals, if they were just integers or smaller numbers, it might be better. I could just do it all at once. But I find that I lose track or something. So to make sure that I don't lose track, I sometimes will make a new column in my table. I'll be like, okay, I'll take whatever it is here that I'm supposed to. I could have done this up here as well. I could have just made a new column and said, I'll take my siblings times my frequency and write it here, just to keep track, so that if I make a mistake, I can go back and fix it a little easier than having to start all over from the beginning. So I just took 1 times 5.5, and then 13 times 15.5, and so on. Hopefully I did those right. I guess we're going to find out in a minute, because you've all done it, hopefully. And then now I just have to add these numbers up. So the reason for this is it helps me to keep myself organized. You don't have to do this, and there's nothing magical about this, although a little later on, this particular column will have something that's not magical, but it's meaningful. But for now, it's just a useful tool. So when I did that, I got a total of 1456, and I'm curious if that's the same thing you got when you did the multiplying and adding. So at least a few of you are saying, yes, yes, that's exciting to me. So then I'll do this, 1456 divided by 52, and that's super easy. So I got 28, interesting, huh. All right, so 28. Oh, that's right, this is an approximation, approximate. It's approximating this. Okay, that makes me happy, because that's the approximation. And remember, this isn't perfect. I don't know if you're the one who has the giant water bottle, but I forget if it's in this class or in another class. Whoever it was actually 64 ounces. And whoever has the little dinky water bottle, I don't remember which class it was, but someone said they had an 8-ounce water bottle. I can't even imagine. Why would you carry around a little tiny 8-ounce water bottle? Maybe you were confused about what ounces were. But here's the actual, this is the actual, oops, the actual numbers, so there it is, it was 27.8. That's 0.88. We were off by only 0.12, even though we were approximating. I am so happy with that. Okay, so one last thing. I know you're excited. You want to go use this and do your homework immediately, but I need to mention a couple of things about the exam while you oh, it's time to go. Exam is next week on Friday. I will have it some point tomorrow or the next day. Magically, it will appear on our website, practice exam. I think I told you about this. It'll be an exam that I gave last year, and I'll put the solutions up there as well eventually, but you can start studying for that. Quizzes are a great place to study as well. We will have time next week to talk about that. I'm going to stop the recording. Thanks for enduring with me this joyful lesson.